Are you crazy? Do you want to die? In the Retinus Empire, the word crazy means this, standing before the Metal Knights and looking for the Grey Knights. The Metal Knights symbolize the sun, full of passion. The Grey Knights symbolize moonlight, noble and solemn. The two factions have been enemies for generations. The nobles never stopped talking about it. But that impossible day came even faster than the apocalypse. A crowd stirred around a posted notice. Wait, the commander of the Metal Knights and the commander of the Grey Knights have become sworn sisters. What kind of nonsense is that? People began praying, saying the end of the world must be near. Well, whatever. Dana softly called out to Mercia. The two close knight commanders finally made a decision. Smiling, Dana proposed an idea. The bells rang. My archenemy. Jesse gasped. Seshia, turn around. Jesse sighed. If you insist, I won't stop you. But you're not bringing your sword too, are you? You aren't planning to use it to chop Lord Enoch, are you? Seshia's gaze drifted. If it really comes to that, Jesse shrieked. You can't be serious. Do you even know how this marriage came about? Seshia looked indifferent. Wasn't it just some boring thing our parents cooked up to show off their friendship? Jesse trembled with anger. Miss Seshia, you studied history, didn't you? Do you really not understand what an alliance between House Metal and House Grey means? Why do you think even foreign nations sent envoys to congratulate you? Seshia looked at him. Wait, Jesse, why are you crying? Choking back sobs, Jesse said, We've waited so long for this union. Seshia let out a helpless sigh. You think I don't know? I know everything. Jesse wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes. Really? Seshia nodded. Everyone knows the history of mutual hatred between House Metal and House Grey. Now their commander's children, Seshia and Enoch, are going to marry. They're all just here to watch the spectacle. Jesse cried out, Miss Seshia. Seshia smiled and waved a fist. Don't worry so much. Enoch's been missing in the monster forest for a week. If I'm lucky, today's engagement ceremony will be canceled. Jesse's face changed. You mustn't say that, miss. What if something really happened to your fiancé? A scream suddenly came from behind them. Seshia turned around. What are you all doing here? The door flew open. Several knights tumbled in a heap. On my back. One of them struggled to raise his head. Commander, we heard you were going to wear a dress, so we came to check. It was Jack who insisted we come. Jack covered his forehead. When did I ever say that? Seshia's eyes turned cold. Say what you came to say. Why are you here? One of them stammered. Well, if you really don't want to go, then you should run away. Jesse froze. What? The knights all gave a thumbs up at once. We've already secured an escape route. Just give the order, and we'll escort you out. Jesse shrieked in horror. Miss Seshia, you're not actually considering it, are you? This is the Imperial Palace Banquet Hall, he cried. In other words, an engagement ceremony personally presided over by His Majesty, the Emperor. Seshia turned her face aside. As the proud commander of the Metal Knights, I can't do that. But I can't wait forever for Enoch, that idiot who may already be dead in the monster forest. So let's just hold the engagement ceremony now. Jesse clasped his face in both hands, his eyes shining. Miss Seshia, Seshia thought to herself, while Enoch isn't here, I'll hurry and finish the ceremony. Then afterward I can use that as an excuse to break the engagement. She called out loudly, Bishop. The bishop came over at once. Miss Seshia, the ceremony is prepared. But have you come because you're worried about Lord Enoch's whereabouts? If you wish to pray to God for his safety, Seshia cut him off. If he's going to die in the monster forest, I'd rather finish him off myself. The bishop blinked in surprise. You truly are as you've always been. Seshia, urge him on. More importantly, please begin the ceremony at once. The bishop looked troubled. What? Then what about your fiancé? Are you planning to conduct the ceremony alone? Seshia's gaze was firm. That bastard isn't coming today. We can't let all the guests come for nothing. The bishop said, but if you do that, you'll never be able to be engaged again. You'll spend the rest of your life alone. Seshia thought it over. As long as the engagement is broken off, that solves everything. The bishop was moved to tears. Such profound resolve, transcending worldly bonds. Very well, Miss Seshia. We'll begin immediately. Inside, Seshia was overjoyed. Great. He seems to have misunderstood something. But as long as Enoch isn't here, that's all that matters. The sound of trumpets rang out solemnly. The bishop announced in a loud voice, Miss Seshia, please step forward. Seshia walked ahead. The guest's whispers slipped into her ears. Where's Lord Enoch? He didn't come. I really wanted to see him. I was hoping to drown in those eyes of his today. Seshia forced down her anger. I heard every word. You all know how awful Enoch is, and you still say things like that. Whatever. Just finish the ceremony before he shows up, then go home and rest. The great doors burst open. A tall figure stood backlit in the entrance. Seshia whipped around. The guests erupted in shocked cries. My God, he's back. Enoch Gray was covered in blood, his armor scarred with mottled damage. His blue eyes pierced through the crowd and locked onto Seshia. Seshia, were you going to get engaged without me? Seshia took a hard step forward. What happened to you? Enoch walked toward her slowly. I had to come, and there's something I want to ask you. So Seshia, she roared, cutting him off. I told you not to call me that. It's disgusting. Enoch's voice dropped low. Even without my memories, how could I fail to recognize you standing right in front of me? He lifted a blood-stained hand and lightly pinched Seshia's chin. Seshia shouted, What are you talking about? Enoch leaned closer. That doesn't matter. Seshia's pupils contracted. What the hell? What's going on here? He's really asking me now? Enoch slowly parted his lips. In a low voice he asked, Don't you miss me? Detective. Seshia's whole body jolted. What? What did he mean by that? Detective, a word I hadn't heard in a very long time. A word from a distant past. How did he know that word? More than that, how did he know what my profession had been in my previous life? A faint smile flashed in Enoch's blue eyes, his face still smeared with blood. Seshia's thoughts froze instantly. Wait, those eyes. Could it be? People always say enemies are fated to cross paths, but my mortal enemy had appeared at my engagement ceremony, my arch-rival from my previous life. Who can remember the first day of their life? Since infants have no true reason, it should have been impossible. But that day, I remembered clearly. A gentle woman's voice said, That's right, my precious Seshia, our angelic child. A man chimed in, She's such a beautiful daughter, just like you. Mercia held the baby in her arms while her husband gently rubbed her shoulder. She is the pride of House Metal. She'll bring an end to the feud between Gray and Metal and lead us to harmony. The baby suddenly burst into loud crying. I'm not a newborn. I'm a handsome detective who protected the Republic of Korea. Startled by the crying, Mercia exclaimed, Goodness, this child is full of life. Her husband smiled and comforted her. My dear Mercia, our child is so healthy. The Lord will be delighted. Mercia forced a smile. Yes, with strength like this, she's sure to help many people. What the hell is this? Why am I here? Of course I know you shouldn't grab someone's hair at random, but I cried and wailed like a lunatic, not because of my sausage-like little arms. Just moments ago, I had been chasing a criminal. I was about to arrest him. He was the murderer of my parents, the enemy I pursued my whole life. I drew my gun and ran after him. Stop! I swear I'll catch you. Then there was a deafening bang. That was my last memory. So naturally, I felt anger, hatred, and despair. I should have locked that bastard in prison. Mercia marveled. Our child's lungs are incredible. Her voice is as bright as a canary's. She's definitely going to become someone remarkable. It's a good omen. That was how it began. My parents were loving people, but I still couldn't believe that bastard got away. No one could understand how a newborn baby felt that day, least of all my parents. But after the first shock faded, I discovered that life in this world wasn't bad at all. 3 maids gathered around my crib. How can she be so tiny and so cute? Look at those cheeks. What was I supposed to do? I had somehow turned into an unbelievably adorable baby. No matter what I said, that was always their reaction, and it was kind of fun. Maybe this life would be sweet. Then the head maid barked. How long are you going to keep playing around? What if the Lord arrives? The maids all shuddered. We're sorry. Even in such peaceful days, there was one thing that made me uneasy. Will the Lord really come? Exactly. How could he never come see such a cute granddaughter even once? Given enough time, surely his heart would soften. My maternal grandfather, the Lord, opposed reconciliation with the Gray family. He drove my mother and me out of the estate and refused to acknowledge us as members of House Metal. That was the situation. But was that really necessary? Honestly, I was happy now. I didn't want to struggle desperately like in my previous life. I just wanted to lie around, eat, drink, and play. The maids whispered among themselves. Of all times, the Lord comes while the master and madam are away. We have to handle this well. Seshia sat up. Why is it so noisy? What's going on? A maid hurriedly answered. Emergency. Your grandfather, the Lord, will be here any moment. He's coming all of a sudden. This is your chance to make a good impression on him, young lady. You're already beautiful, so please don't cry, all right? She turned and shouted, Everyone, assemble. Seshia thought to herself, what kind of man is he? Even I'm starting to get nervous. Heavy footsteps echoed. People lined up in order. The atmosphere was tense. A man in a splendid military uniform appeared, his eyes sharp and his presence overwhelming. He was the Lord of House Metal. The Lord spoke in a low, commanding voice. "Where is Mercia's daughter?" A sinister purple aura seemed to radiate from him as he looked down at me in the crib. They said he had been the most combative knight commander in history. He really did look terrifying. So this is the man who hates me? The butler introduced me with a broad smile. "Forgive me for the late introduction. Lord, this is Miss Seshia Metal." The Lord glared. "How dare you? Who gave her the surname Metal without my permission?" An invisible force suddenly exploded outward. The butler was struck and coughed up blood, his face filled with terror. "Please forgive me." I sucked in a breath. What was that just now? He didn't even touch the butler, and he still made him spit blood. I'd heard his swordsmanship had already surpassed human limits. I never imagined it had reached this level. The Lord's sharp gaze swept over to me. Our eyes met. He was even more terrifying than an armed criminal. He stared at me. "Did that brat not get fed? Is that why she looks like that?" The butler hurriedly answered, "Not at all, my lord. Miss Seshia eats very well." The Lord frowned thoughtfully. "Mercia, where did she find this scrawny little dried fish?" Then he turned and left. The servants bowed. "Safe travels, my lord." I reached out my tiny hand and babbled. The butler wiped the blood from his mouth. "Miss, are you worried about me?" "I'm Fina." He held up a little bottle. "I always carry fake blood with me, just in case. As the butler of House Metal, one must be prepared for situations like this." I froze in disbelief. This butler is truly a master of survival. But if the Lord hates me that much, I need to come up with a plan. Mercia's anxious voice sounded out. "Where is father?" The butler bowed and answered, "The Lord just left." Mercia sounded incredulous. Did he run away because he was afraid we'd catch him doting on Seshia? She smirked. "Then that's a complete victory for me." The butler laughed awkwardly, though he did leave without looking back. At the moment, it seems he was the one thoroughly defeated. Mercia smiled. "Seshia, do you want to know what happened?" She spread her arms, picked me up, and gently explained, "It's nothing special. Every day, I send your portrait to your grandfather. He should at least know what his only granddaughter looks like, shouldn't he?" She winked proudly. "And just yesterday, I happened to stop. He couldn't even last one day. He missed you, so he came. Isn't that my total victory?" Seshia was stunned. "What? That stern said file metal? The Lord who refused to acknowledge me as his granddaughter and call me a dried fish?" The butler said, "It would seem the Lord cares very much for the young miss." Mercia happily announced, "That's wonderful, Seshia. Your grandfather loves you so much." Seshia struggled furiously. "Is that what loving a granddaughter looks like?" There was no way that was true. Mercia laughed. "Our Seshia understands everything. So clever. I wonder who she takes after." She rubbed her cheek affectionately against mine. We really were not communicating at all. Before long, Seshia had no choice but to admit her grandfather's love. The butler set down dish after dish. "Miss, next is stewed tutuk heart and Merrick's liver. These are all rare delicacies, so please eat plenty." Seshia let out a long sigh. I certainly felt my grandfather's love. The problem was that there was far too much of it. The butler asked with concern, "Miss, are you all right? Are you feeling unwell somewhere?" Sweating profusely, Seshia begged, "Please stop. Stop serving all these mountain and sea delicacies. And stop sending me my grandfather's love." She suddenly sprang up and flipped the table. The butler panicked. "Miss, you have to eat more." Seshia shook her head desperately. "I can't eat anymore. How was I supposed to know?" He called me a dried fish because I was actually too skinny. I had no idea an even greater trial awaited me. Dana held Enoch in her arms and gently said to him, "Take a good look at this portrait. What do you think? Do you like her? This is your future fiancée, Seshia. You must always treat Miss Seshia well." Enoch stared expressionlessly at the painting. Then he suddenly shoved it over. Dana cried out, "Enoch, the greatest problem of my life. The nemesis fate had chosen for me. Enoch." Enoch's face darkened, his tiny features full of resistance. Several years had passed since I was born as the only daughter of House Metal. If you asked who I liked best in this mansion, it would probably be my father. The butler came in carrying roast chicken. I sat at the table, displeased. Then my father's voice came. "Has our little Seshia finished eating?" I immediately stretched out my arms. "It's Daddy." He came over, lifted me up, and said, "Come here." The butler greeted him respectfully. "Welcome back, Lord Benedict." I struggled frantically. "Wah, I don't want to eat anymore." My father looked at me gently. "I understand. No matter how delicious something is, if you eat too much of it, you get tired of it, right?" I nodded hard. Yes, exactly. He understands how I feel. And he had perfect features, 2. Our Seshia looks to be in a good mood. The butler rushed over with 2 more plates. Miss, there are still 12 main dishes left for today. Even without saying anything, I couldn't help smiling. Father read aloud from a storybook, and so they lived happily ever after. I made a little sound. Unbelievable. Such a cliché old story, and yet it's interesting. Father asked gently, "How was it? Want me to read more?" I nodded vigorously. Yes. Father sighed fondly. Our Seshia really loves books. I smiled. It's just that I love Dad. The butler entered. Lord Benedict, the head of the family, is on his way. Father said, he's here rather early today. The butler added, he must miss our young miss very much. My mood sank instantly. If there was someone I liked, then of course there was also someone I disliked. He's here again. Even if he did love me, my grandfather's way of speaking and acting was far too arrogant and domineering. Father noticed my displeasure. Does grandfather make you uncomfortable? He gently stroked my hair. Don't worry. If you listen carefully, you'll find that every word he says comes from his love for you. Trust Daddy. Try listening to him just once. I nodded. If Dad says so, could it really be true? Thinking back, all those delicacies have been absurdly expensive. Some of them could only be obtained by hunting personally. At his age, he must have gone through quite a lot to gather them. Grandfather stormed in, furious. Her arms and legs are still like dried twigs. Father held me and greeted him with a smile. Welcome, head of house. Grandfather glared at me. I sent so many good things, and this is all that came of it. I started wailing angrily. Grandfather kept scolding. Even that rude attitude is exactly like your mother's. Father whispered in my ear, he's just worried that you're not gaining weight. And from the sound of it, he's also praising you for being as pretty as Mercia. I turned around and looked at Father suspiciously. No way. Grandfather called in a low voice, Benedict. Father answered immediately, yes, head of house. Grandfather said, Mercia's daughter should be learning to walk by now, shouldn't she? Father replied, of course, head of house. She walks quite well already. I was even more shocked. He came all the way here just for that. How embarrassing. Father added, Seshia has excellent balance. She can even run now. Grandfather clenched both fists. She's already taken her first step? Father answered firmly, yes. The ground began to shake. The banners on the wall trembled. I clutched Father's clothes tightly. What is an earthquake? Father soothed me. It's all right, Seshia. He's probably upset because he didn't get to see your first step. Grandfather flared with rage. That bastard. Then he roared a name, Jed Grey, and ran outside. I stared in shock. How can one person move that fast? Later I learned that Jed Grey, the head of the Grey family, had heard the news of my first steps. He had deliberately mocked Grandfather. A letter lay quietly on the table. It read, I'm glad I didn't miss my grandson Enoch's first steps. I hope you won't miss Seshia's. Seshia's grandfather had been completely played. Even though his words were harsh, just as Father had said, he really did care about me. What a classic Sundara, old Duke. Though I looked like a baby on the outside, I absolutely could not forget that inside, I was an adult. Mother's voice rang out. How could she be this cute, this charming, this tiny? I sighed inwardly. Please, Mother. Those all mean the same thing. Father gazed at me. I've checked so many times to see if Seshia has wings on her back. I'm afraid some other angel might come and take her away. Mother held her face in both hands, eyes overflowing with love. Little angel. There was a reason we were all dressed up. Mercia looked excitedly at her husband. What if Enoch falls in love with Seshia at first sight? Father nodded. Exactly. What if Enoch becomes lovesick and ends up bedridden? He's still a child. How could he endure that kind of pain? I grabbed my hair with both hands. I'm going insane. Are we really going to meet him? Today was the day of our first meeting. If we meet this young, then what thrilling feelings will be left when we grow up? This is too weird. I have to do something. We need to go back now. I raised both hands in protest. A maid walked in. Excuse me, Lady Dana Grey, her husband Lord Edward Grey, and young Master Enoch Grey have arrived. Dana strode in, her husband following behind while holding the baby. She called out loudly, Mercia. Mercia imbres Dana tartly. It's been so long. If I'd known we'd be apart this long, I would have quit my post. Watching them, Seshia thought, if they're supposed to be rivals, they don't seem like it at all. Mother looked happy, and Aunt Dana did too. Mercia let go. I nearly forgot why we're meeting today. I have to introduce my adorable daughter. Father stepped forward with me in his arms. Mercia said, this is Seshia. Dana exclaimed, good heavens, Mercia, she looks exactly like you. She's too cute. I want to take her home right now. Father immediately held me tighter. Absolutely not. Mother took Dana's hand. Then you should introduce Enoch too. Dana nodded. You're right. She turned and called out, Edward, come here. Edward stepped forward carrying Enoch. He gently urged him. All right, Enoch, say hello. Seshia looked at him. So that child is my fiancé, Enoch. His expression seems a little strange. Is that just my imagination? Father set me down on the floor. He encouraged me softly. Don't be nervous. Go say hello to Enoch. I covered my mouth. Just looking at him made me nauseous. I felt like I was about to throw up. Dana smiled at her son. Enoch, you should greet Miss Seshia. Seshia's face changed. Wait, I suddenly felt dizzy. The more I looked at his face, the more I wanted to smash it in. She suddenly charged forward and swung a punch straight into Enoch's cheek. Mercia screamed in horror. Seshia froze. I really hit him, but his face just looked so punchable. Mother stared at me in horror. Seshia, father was stunned too. Impossible. Edward stood there in disbelief. Did Enoch really get punched by Seshia? Enoch lay on the ground, his cheek bright red. He slowly lifted his head. His lips trembled, and a whimper escaped him. Then he burst into loud tears. Wailing, he scrambled to his feet and rushed at Seshia. Seshia looked at him. Is he going to hit me back? You little brat. Enoch raised his tiny fist, his face full of fury. Seshia easily dodged his punch. If you were any other child, I might have let you hit me. But Enoch swung at empty air and crashed hard onto the ground. He burst into tears again. Seshia crossed her arms and looked down at him with contempt. Too slow. What a shame for him. Back in Korea, I was a detective. This kind of childish trick is nothing to me. The adults fell into a deathly silence, all looking at one another in helpless confusion. Dana scooped up the crying Enoch. Enoch, you mustn't treat Seshia like that. Seshia thought, look at this kid. He's still a baby, and his temper is already this bad. Mother called my name. Seshia. I looked up at her. Mom, I really didn't mean to. Mother sternly questioned me. What exactly did you do to Enoch? You hit him and knocked him down. This meeting was something everyone had prayed and hoped for over such a long time. It shouldn't have ended like this. Apologize to Enoch and make up with him right now. She lifted me up and hurriedly explained to Dana. Lady Dana, she says she wants to apologize to Enoch. Dana forced a smile. No need. Looking at Enoch's face, I felt that same wave of nausea again. Mother gently coaxed me. Why don't you blow on him softly to say sorry? I took a deep breath and suddenly opened my mouth wide. A rainbow burst forth and splashed all over Enoch's face. Perhaps I became the first woman in the history of the continent to do such a thing. I really did throw up all over him. I would go down in history as the woman who, at her very first meeting, hit her fiancé and then vomited on him. The carriage wheels turned slowly. Father carefully helped Mother down from the carriage. He softly called her name. Are you all right? You seem completely out of it. Mother pressed a hand to her forehead, despair written all over her face. Seshia thought to herself, everyone had looked forward to today's meeting, but because of me, I disappointed the whole family. I felt terribly guilty. Then a booming voice rang out. Where's my adorable granddaughter? Seshia froze. Adorable granddaughter? Is he talking about me? Grandfather rushed over. My beautiful, proud granddaughter. I heard she punched that gray brat right in the face. He lifted Seshia high into the air and spun her around. I'm proud of you. 6 years later, sunlight filtered through the woods, and a white castle could be seen through the trees. Jesse anxiously shouted through the forest. Miss Seshia, where are you? When I catch you, you're done for. Seshia suddenly turned around. He's already this close? Jesse's voice rang out again. Miss Seshia, the banquet is about to begin. If you stay here any longer, your dress will get dirty. This is the first children's dress ever designed by Madame de Virion. Do you know what kind of dress that is? It costs enough to buy a house. Crouching under a tree with mud on the hem of her skirt, Seshia muttered, sorry, there goes the price of a whole house. Jesse stamped his foot in frustration. You really are an expert at tormenting people. Seshia muttered softly, I didn't mean to. I just don't want to see Enoch, that idiot's face. That was why she had run away. Today, the Gray family was coming to visit. Since our first meeting, I'd seen Enoch a few more times, but I still hated him and always felt uneasy around him. Then Seshia heard the sound of water and brightened. Is there a stream nearby? Great. I've been running so long. I'm thirsty. Lucky me. She happily ran westward. Problems with Enoch and the family were all too annoying. Why is Enoch so popular with girls anyway? I'm going to drink some water, lie in the sun, and take a nap. Seshia rushed toward the stream, splashing water everywhere. I just want to be free. A voice spoke. See, why are you here? Seshia looked up in shock. Why are you coming out of there? Enoch said calmly, I'm hiding here because I didn't want to see you. Seshia angrily shot back. I came here because I didn't want to see you either. Goose. Enoch stayed expressionless. Likewise, Seshia pointed. I got here first, so leave. Enoch lay back lazily. If first come, first serve matters so much, then I was here before you. By your logic, the one who should leave is you. Seshia clenched her fist in anger. How is this brat so good at arguing? I have the soul of an adult, so why do I lose every argument to this jerk? Wait, what's that? That thing at Enoch's waist. Seshia pointed at it. Enoch, what is that? She stepped forward. Water splashed like arrows. Why do you have that? Seshia leaned in close. Is that real? Enoch opened his eyes. What are you talking about? Seshia pointed. I mean this. Isn't that a sword? Enoch sat up. The head of the family gave it to me. Seshia demanded. That's not what I'm asking. Why are you wearing a sword? Are you really learning swordsmanship? Enoch nodded. Of course. I'm from the Gray family. If I want to become a knight, I have to learn. You're from the Metal family, so you have to learn too, right? Haven't you started yet? Seshia suddenly hesitated. Right? He was born to a family of knights, so of course he'd be interested in swords. My house was full of swords too, but this was the first time I'd seen one this close. It's so cool. I am jealous. But the fact that Enoch got one before me really pisses me off. Honestly, being a detective in my last life was exhausting enough. If I learned swordsmanship too, wouldn't I just end up living another painful life, full of struggling and fighting? Enoch pressed on. Why? Why haven't you started learning yet? Seshia looked away. It's hard and exhausting. I think I'll pass. Enoch suddenly grabbed her by the collar. What? How can you not learn swordsmanship? You're the only child of House Metal. Isn't it only natural? If you don't learn, Seshia clapped a hand over her mouth as nausea rose in her throat. If he gets any closer, I'm going to throw up. If you don't want to get hit, let go. Enoch immediately released her and jumped back a full step. Seshia blinked. I must have left him with a serious trauma. He's standing so far away. Finally, I can breathe. I feel alive again. Enoch rested a hand on his sword hilt. Anyway, are you really not going to learn swordsmanship? Seshia frowned. I already told you. Enoch said, then you'll become very boring. Seshia looked puzzled. Why? A sly smile touched Enoch's face. Because you'll be weak. House Metal has no successor. It'll decline soon enough. Seshia froze. What? A scorching rage burst through her whole body. Her fists clenched tight. You bastard. Are you done talking? Seshia swung her fist hard. Enoch staggered backward from the blow, eyes full of shock. You hit me? Seshia was furious. That's right. Every word you said deserved it. She threw herself on top of him and pinned him down. No matter how mature he acted, he was still only a 7-year-old child. And that was how I beat that brat half to death. Mercia scolded sharply. Couldn't you have behaved a little better? The force you used to hit him was far worse than this punishment. Do you understand what you did wrong now? Seshia held a bucket high in the air, her arms shaking nonstop. My arms hurt so much. She didn't even ask me why I hit him. That bastard was the one who made me angry first. He's just a tiny shrimp of a brat, talking back like that was asking to get hit. Mother glared. Seshia, how can you say such a thing? You hit Enoch, and you don't feel even a little remorse. Seshia defended herself in a small voice. That's not. The door burst open. Grandfather rushed in. Seshia, my pride and joy. Did you really beat up that gray brat? He scooped Seshia up high into the air. Our granddaughter has won a glorious victory. Mother shouted furiously. Father. Grandfather answered without concern. What? If our granddaughter wants to hit someone from the Gray family, then let her hit them. Seshia's eyes filled with tears. Even if hitting Enoch was wrong, Grandpa took my side unconditionally. I was truly moved. If only Mom had asked me why I hit him. Grandfather panicked. No. Why is my precious granddaughter crying? Sniffling, Seshia explained, Enoch said I'd become insignificant because I said I wouldn't learn swordsmanship. He said House Metal would decline soon. But I'm part of House Metal too. I have my own honor. Hearing that, Grandfather laughed loudly. That's right. Our Seshia is a noble metal. Thanks to you, we preserved our family's honor in front of that gray brat. Seshia lay in bed, tossing and turning. I'm still so angry. Why doesn't Mom understand? And the arm I used to hold that bucket hurts so much. A faint sound came from nearby. She jerked awake. Who is it? I don't want to talk to anyone. I should pretend to be asleep. Footsteps stopped by the bedside. Mother called softly. My daughter, are you asleep? She sat down. Seshia, Mom scolded you without asking anything. You must have been very hurt, right? Seshia's body trembled. It hurts. Mother rubbed her arm. My precious girl must be badly hurt. Your heart must have broken. I heard Dana scolded Enoch harshly too. That precocious child even ran away from home, apparently. Something cool touched her skin. Seshia shivered. What is this? It's cold. It feels like ointment. Mother continued. For the sake of harmony between the two families, it seems we all went too far. And in the end, we only hurt the children. I am truly sorry, Seshcho. To Mom, you are more important than anything. She leaned down and pressed a kiss to Seshia's forehead. The reason you got angry at what Enoch said today is probably because your family's pride has already taken root and begun to grow inside you. That pride, strong, brave, and just. My daughter has grown up so much. Then she got up to leave. Good night, my daughter. I love you. Seshia sat bolt upright. Mom, hearing my mother say she loved me felt so strange. Her hand gripped the bedsheets tightly. It had clearly been such a gentle, warm, loving expression. So why did it make me feel so afraid? My parents in my previous life were not good people. They beat me. Later, they died in an accident, and I was eventually sent to an orphanage. But luckily, not long after that, I met new parents. The man crouched down and smiled kindly. So you're the child who's going to become part of our family. You must have suffered a lot. From now on, we'll take care of you. He held out his hand. Come with us. We'll treasure you. I was happy then. I even felt that all the years I'd spent alone had been for the sake of meeting them. But on the night we completed the paperwork and went to their house, the scream of sirens pierced the sky. Please step back. Has the forensic team not arrived yet? I stood outside the police line, staring at the body on the stretcher covered with a white sheet. One hand with a wristwatch dangled out. It was Dad's watch. I ran toward the cordon. Who are you people? What happened? A police officer immediately stopped me. No, child, you can't come in here. The officer dragged me away. Take this child away quickly. This is a crime scene. The couple who had said they would treasure me broke that promise in the most absurd way. Later, I heard it had been suicide, but I didn't believe a single word. Rain poured down. People who were about to adopt a child do not kill themselves. I had to uncover the truth. So I never knew what parental love was. At the age when I should have been learning how to love, I had no parents. Mom is such a good person that I'm afraid she'll disappear. I'm so scared. This was a feeling I'd never known in my previous life. A mother who cared for me this much. Maybe I endured all that suffering just so I could be born into this world and meet this family. Even though I'm afraid, I'm happy. Seshia pushed open the door and stepped onto the balcony. The cool wind brushed against her face, and her heart felt lighter and firmer, though I was still furious at that bastard Enoch. So what if he just got a wooden sword and learned a little swordsmanship? Does that make him so impressive? Who does he think he is? Telling me what to do. She swung her fists at the air. That feels good. A faint cracking sound came from nearby. What was that? Seshia turned toward the noise. Did some bastard sneak in here? Under the moonlight, the back of a silver-haired figure came into view. Why does that look like some bastard I know? Seshia crept closer and saw Enoch kneeling on the ground. He had a freshly pulled clump of grass in his hand. Seshia folded her arms. So it's you. What are you doing here? Enoch whipped around. There were bandages on his face, and his eyes darted away. I should be asking you that. I'm just pulling weeds. Seshia looked confused. His face was patched here and there with bandages. What happened to him? She turned to leave. Fine then. Enoch panicked. Wait. Seshia looked back. If you have something to say it quickly. The news that you ran away has already spread. They'll be back to catch you soon. Enoch froze. That fast. Seshia, he thought to herself. Why is he hesitating like this all of a sudden? Enoch scratched the back of his neck. I went too far today. I am sorry. If someone insulted Gray, I'd probably get angry too. When you said you wouldn't learn swordsmanship, I reacted without thinking. I wanted to apologize to you. She reached out and touched Enoch's face lightly. Then she held his face in both hands. Their faces were close enough to touch. Seshia gently pressed her forehead to his. You don't seem to have a fever. Enoch abruptly shoved her away. Get lost. Seshia staggered back. I was just worried. Did you really have to overreact like that? Enoch waved his hands in a fluster. I didn't mean to push that hard. He lowered his voice and apologized. Seshia thought to herself. He's way too strange today. Well, whatever. Considering I beat him up, we'll call it even this time. Enoch looked like he wanted to say something. Seshia turned to leave. Stop apologizing already. Just hurry home. I heard Aunt Dana is leaving for Christian tomorrow. If you don't go back now, you won't see her for a long time. Enoch's eyes darkened. I don't know where she's going, and I don't care at all. Seshia crossed her arms, looking thoroughly disdainful. So you ran away from home because you were sulking at Aunt Dana? Enoch shot back at once. I am angry, but I'm not sulking. Do you know who I learned swordsmanship for? He's leaving for Crichton for a whole month, leaving me behind all alone. And of all days, he had to yell at me today. That's so unfair. Enoch turned away, crouched down, and wrapped his arms around his knees. Seshia watched him quietly. He was definitely sulking. She stepped closer. Are you crying? Enoch didn't answer. Seshia bent down and whispered by his ear, I asked if you're crying. Enoch snapped, I'm not crying, so get lost. Seshia clicked her tongue. Crying just because you got scolded a little? You really are such a lit. Enoch roared, cutting her off. Don't say just because. You don't know anything. Don't talk like you understand. Seshia froze. Enoch continued. Because of our engagement, my mother was driven out of the house. Do you know how hard I've worked so I could live with her again? I practice swordsmanship from morning till night until my hands feel like they're on fire. But I can't stop because I have to defeat someone from the metal family. Grandfather promised me that if I win, he'll let my mother come back home. That's why you need to learn swordsmanship too. Because I have to become the first Gray to defeat someone from the metal family in a duel. That's the only way I can live with my mother again. He stared straight at Seshia. I'm begging you, please, pick up your sword. Seshia's expression turned complicated. So that's why you were angry when I refused to learn the sword. Because this is the only way you can reunite with Aunt Dana. Enoch's voice softened with a hint of pleading. That's right. Do you understand how I feel now? Seshio answered quietly, Ido. But even if I start training now, do you think that means you'll automatically win? Enoch sounded utterly confident. Isn't that obvious? I'm a genius. I was born for the bow, and all you ever do is eat, drink, and fool around. How could I possibly lose to you? A vein throbbed on Seshia's forehead, and her fists clenched with a crack. Whether Enoch had talent for swordsmanship was uncertain, but his talent for making people angry was definitely top tier. Enoch recoiled in horror. Why are you raising your fist again? Are you trying to turn into a monster? Seshia suppressed her rage. I'm only holding back because I don't want my mother to be upset if I hurt you. She jabbed a finger at him. Just you wait. I will never lose to someone like you. A glimmer flashed in Enoch's eyes. That's the spirit my rival should have. Seshia turned and walked away. And just like that, a long battle between Enoch and me began. With a furious shout, Seshia brought down her wooden sword, smashing it hard against the training dummy. She gritted her teeth and raised the wooden sword again. Counter, waist, back, neck. She hacked wildly at the dummy as a strange man stood nearby. He looked troubled. Lady Seshia, please stop. Seshia halted, panting. Sir Lawrence. Lawrence sternly pointed at her. I told you to practice slashing, not to smash it to pieces. Seshia blinked innocently. Is there a difference? Sir Lawrence pressed a hand to his forehead. You really do have metal blood in you. The moment the name Gray comes up, you burst into flames. Tell me, Lady Seshia, do you really want to defeat that boy from House Gray? Without hesitation, Seshia shouted, Of course. I want to beat Enoch flat with this sword. Sir Lawrence barked, Then you can't keep waving around like that. Fighting like that will only lead to defeat. Seshia stiffened. Defeat? Anything but defeat. Sir Lawrence gave his next order. Then run 5 laps around the training grounds. Seshia pulled a twisted face. Ugh, yes, master. She took off running around the field. Enoch was nothing but an arrogant, rude jerk, a guy who looked down on me. Losing to him would feel worse than death. I just wanted to beat him senseless. That was all. Seshia threw her head back and howled. But we were children of 2 great noble houses. The world saw our rivalry very differently, and naturally our parents were worried. Grandfather had long been waiting for a victory over the Gray family. And then there were the people. 2 men sat around a table. One held up a newspaper. Did you hear? The young lady of House Metal has challenged the young master of House Gray to a duel. The other looked stunned. Really? I thought they'd already made up. The news spread through the papers. Seshia and Enoch were competing for the position of next captain of the Imperial Guard. I knew it. House Metal would never surrender without a fight and hand that position over to House Gray. People in the tavern raised their glasses. Exactly. Now, this is going to be fun. Let the festivities begin. They devoured rumors and gossip as greedily as if they were feasting. The hem of a red cloak swept the floor as a blond man approached the throne, Emperor Maxian Leopoldo Retinus. Lazily reclining against the back of his throne, he asked, Seshia has taken up the sword? Is that true? A gray-haired minister bowed and reported, Yes, Your Majesty. It seems the long-standing feud between House Metal and House Gray has been reignited. A smile curled on the Emperor's lips. It seems my people and I finally have a good show to watch. Have Seshia and Enoch participate in this year's hunting tournament. The minister blanched. Your Majesty, they're only 7-year-old children. Sending them in a Mitro forest would be far too dangerous. Emperor Maxian's eyes hardened. Since when did I require your approval? The minister dropped to his knees at once. My deepest apologies, your majesty. It was my foolishness. The emperor replied evenly. I forgive you. Now go. Bring someone to me at once. Trembling, the minister asked, Whom do you mean, your majesty? A calculating gleam flashed in Emperor Maxian's eyes. If House Grey and House Metal are fighting this fiercely over the position of next captain of the Imperial Guard, shouldn't they meet the future emperor as well? Sunlight pierced the curtains, illuminating a thin little figure holding a book. He must be curious too, curious which of them will become the more loyal blade for him, and who will be the first to offer up their life for him. Porcelain clinked sharply. Mercia spoke, deeply troubled. I'm talking about Seshia. Is it really necessary to go this far? Said File sipped his tea at leisure. Isn't she doing perfectly well? What are you dissatisfied with? Mercia's voice rose. He's only 7. What if he overtrains and gets hurt? Said File's gaze sharpened. Do you not know that metal blood is not so fragile? He's only driving himself this hard because he's blinded by emotion in his pursuit of victory. Mercia pressed a hand to her forehead. I wonder who keeps bringing up Enoch in front of him. Right now, all Seshia can think about is beating that child. I swear, no matter who it is, I'll find them and wring their neck. Said File tightened his grip on the teacup, his hand trembling slightly. A few days earlier, Sir Lawrence pumped his fist and shouted, One more lap. You're almost there, Lady Seshia. Don't fear muscle loss. Pain is an illusion. Embrace the pain. It's the only proof of growth. Seshia ran, gasping for breath. Said File cleared his throat. I hear Enoch ran 10 laps around the training grounds and even mastered a horizontal slash. He pretended to mutter to himself. I wonder how our Seshia is doing. Sir Lawrence heard every word. He turned and bellowed. Enoch ran 10 laps. Lady Seshia? Instantly, Seshia's fighting spirit ignited. What? She became a whirlwind of flame, her speed surging. Enoch, said File abruptly sprang to his feet. I have to go. Something urgent came up, Mercia said. At least leave some water for Seshia before you go. Just then a butler came running in with a tray. Smiling, he said, Lady Mercia, something has arrived from the palace. It appears to be this year's hunting tournament invitation from His Majesty. Mercia sounded unimpressed. If it's an invitation for us as a couple, we've already received it. The butler explained, I thought you should see this first. The letter isn't addressed to you. Written clearly on the envelope were the words, to Lady Seshia. You are cordially invited to the hunting tournament to display the dignity and spirit of the nobles of the Retinus Empire. Mercia's pupils contracted sharply. What does this mean? They want Seshia to participate in the imperial hunting tournament. The butler added, and after delivering this letter, I saw the messenger's head straight for House Grey's territory. Mercia jolted. House Grey? Then Enoch received one too. The butler lowered his head. I can't be certain, but it's very likely. Mercia's expression darkened. Good heavens, what on earth is His Majesty thinking? Forcing such young children to compete? There has to be a reason. It seems he doesn't like the peace between our two families. Mercia slammed a hand onto the table. Even so, to summon them to a hunting tournament like this, in Mitro Forest where monsters roam, a sense of dread settled over her. She had the ominous feeling that something was going to happen, something involving our Seshia. Condria's County. A carriage slowly rolled into the estate, its wheels crunching rhythmically over the gravel road. Benedict gently reassured Mercia. Don't worry too much. His Majesty would never send our child somewhere truly dangerous. The monsters in Mitro Forest are all under control, and the area Seshia will enter has already been cleared. We should trust our Seshia. Outside the carriage window, Seshia was covering her ears, looking utterly fed up. A group of girls surrounded her, crying and whining. I hate you, Seshia. You're so mean. I wanted to go to the hunting tournament with Enoch too. Seshia, can't you just not marry Enoch? At the end of her patience, Seshia snapped. Can you all please be quiet for 1 second? She clamped both hands over her ears. Enoch, if you all want to see him that badly, why don't you enter the tournament yourselves? A blonde girl shouted back. I don't want to. I just want to marry Enoch. The shriek made Seshia flinch. The blonde girl went on sobbing. Only Seshia gets to marry Enoch. It's so unfair. Seshia exploded. Do you think I want to marry Enoch? A brat like that is totally not my type. I'd rather marry my father. The girls around her instantly turned to stone. Dead silence. One of them stammered. Your father? Seshia gave him a look of contempt. Compared to my dad, Enoch is nothing but an empty shell. Turn around and look. The girls all turned in unison. Her father looked back at them, his golden eyes widening slightly. Dressed in fine clothes, he seemed to radiate a soft glow as if surrounded by flowers. The girls were struck instantly, their hearts racing, their cheeks flushing red. They screamed. One girl threw both hands up. "I want to marry Seshia's father." Another immediately followed. "Seshia, what's your father's ideal type?" Drowned out by their shrieks, Seshia clutched her ears in pain. "Please, just stop bothering me." At last, we arrived at the banquet hall. A magnificent palace stretched before them, carriages arriving one after another. Seshia looked out the window. She had expected a mere hunting tournament, but it was far more extravagant than that. So many nobles had come. Inside the banquet hall, everything glittered with gold and noise. A commotion broke out among the crowd. "It's House Grey. The Duke of Grey's family has arrived." "What? Where?" "I have to go greet them. I've been waiting for this day forever." Duke Jed Grey approached slowly in military dress, with Enoch beside him. Jed's voice was low and commanding. "Remember this, Enoch. All the nobles are watching you. That means no matter what happens, you must earn recognition in this tournament." His gaze sharpened. "Prove that you're superior to anyone from House Metal." Enoch lowered his eyes. "Yes, Duke." Jed's sternness instantly crumbled. He looked aggrieved. "I told you to call me grandfather." Enoch reluctantly corrected himself. "Yes, grandfather." Jed regained his dignity. "Gulme, go and greet the other families." Enoch looked around. Has Seshia not arrived yet? If the Metal family's little hero were here, this banquet hall would be even louder. Even so, Seshia can't possibly be better than me. I will never lose to her. That will never change. A suitcase was set down with a thud. Seshia collapsed onto the bed with a long sigh. Jessie set her luggage down beside it. "Lady Seshia, I've put your things here." Lying face down on the bed, Seshia weakly waved a hand. "Thank you." Jessie remained at the door. "Oh, right. Your parents said they'll be having dinner with the Count and Countess of Condrias. So they told me to have you eat by yourself and then rest." Seshia suddenly lifted her head. "What? I can't see father and mother." "But today," Jessie smiled. "Yes, Lady Seshia. Please enjoy some quiet time alone. If you need anything, call for me. Goodbye." The door closed softly. Seshia stood frozen. They really left. "But today is my birthday." Tears instantly welled up. This was nothing like what a 7-year-old's birthday should be. Wait, I completely forgot. Had the 2 years of memories from my previous life made celebrating my birthday with my parents feel natural to me? This is awful. Seshia rolled around on the bed. How can they leave me all alone on a day like this? I'm really hurt. She wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes. Oh no, why am I really crying over something like this? Is it because I'm exhausted from being tormented by those kids in the carriage? Curling up on the bed, she thought, maybe if I sleep, I'll feel better. You have to spend this lovely day in your own way. She drifted off to sleep. Her breathing became steady. The door opened quietly. A figure slipped over to the bedside and looked down at Seshia's sleeping face. Poor child. She must have cried. A hand gently stroked Seshia's forehead. "Don't worry, Lady Seshia, because today is going to be wonderful." Jessie gently shook her. "Lady Seshia, wake up." Seshia opened her eyes groggily. "What is it, Jessie? I can't see anything." Jessie stopped her from removing the blindfold. "Don't take it off. Just come with me." Seshia looked confused. "What?" Jessie took her hand and led her forward. "You'll know when we get there." Pouting, Seshia muttered, "I had a lot to do today. Unlike certain very busy people, I was going to get dressed and look around the banquet hall." Jessie led the blindfolded Seshia along. "Please be quiet." Seshia reluctantly followed. "Fine." Jessie stopped. "All right, Lady Seshia, we're here. I'll take it off now." Seshia sighed. "Even if it's not a present, I just want to be with father and mother. I don't care about any hunting tournament. I just want to rest." The blindfold came off, and colorful confetti burst into the air. Seshia's golden eyes widened. Her father stood there holding a gift box, smiling brightly. "Happy birthday, Seshia." Seshia froze. "What is this?" Her eyes grew moist. So they were keeping it from me because they wanted to surprise me with a gift. I knew father and mother would never forget my birthday. What kind of amazing gift could it be? She opened the heavy box. Inside was a long sword, a gorgeous long sword, resting quietly on red velvet. The blade gleamed coldly. Elegant words were engraved on it. "To my pride and joy, Seshia." Her cheeks flushed. "This," her father laughed and asked, "Do you like it?" Seshia stroked the blade, tears glimmering in her eyes. "So you remembered. I begged you so much back then to make one for me with your own hands. I'm so touched." Her father lifted up an ornate uniform. "And now Seshia officially becomes a knight too. There's even a uniform. Seshia put on a uniform. This is the best gift ever. Thank you. Her father shook his head. You're celebrating too early. Seshia, turn around. A group of uniformed knights closed in, surrounding her in the center. Then her mother's voice rang out. Come a little closer. A bead of cold sweat rolled down Seshia's cheek. Her mother wore a splendid knight's uniform and held a longsword. To celebrate your enlistment, I'll be your very first sparring partner. Seshia's eyes sparkled. So that means you finally admit I'm a knight? Her mother answered without hesitation. Of course. She drew her sword in one swift motion, the point aimed at Seshia. And I won't go easy on you. Wiping away her moved tears, Seshia exclaimed, Mom, you're the best. But I've been practicing for a long time too. She raised her sword and took a fighting stance. I'm ready. A smile touched her mother's lips. Then let me see what you can do. She lashed out with a kick, and Seshia went flying. Her whole body became a red blur, vanishing into the distance. Looking off into the horizon, her mother murmured, My, our Seshia flew really far. Then she turned and ordered the knights, Find Seshia immediately. The knights answered in unison, Yes, ma'am. Scratching her head, Mercia muttered, Looks like I didn't control my strength very well. At the same time, Seshia hung from a tree branch, aching all over. Mom, you hit way too hard. In the banquet hall, she sipped at a strawberry milkshake. Watching her mother surrounded by admirers, she thought, Mom's popularity is terrifyingly high. Her father came over. How is it? Someday, you may become the commander of the Metal Knights. That could be your future too. Seshia looked up. Me? Become someone like Mom? Impossible. But honestly, after starting sword training, I realized that compared to what I've heard about Enoch, I really don't have much talent. Seshia's fist tightened on the table. On the way to the hunting tournament, I felt uneasy the whole time, because I feel like I'm going to lose to Enoch. I only started learning the sword so I could beat that arrogant Enoch properly, but if I lose, what meaning will any of it have? If I lose to Enoch, will I stop holding a sword? Why does thinking that make me feel a little sad and empty? A girl shyly said to Enoch, Lord Grey, if you don't mind, would you like to have cookies with me? Another gathered her courage as well. I'd like to dance with Lord Grey. Enoch responded politely, Ladies, I sincerely appreciate your invitations, but I must remain by my grandfather's side today, so it will have to be another time. Please forgive me. Seshia slammed the table. Unbelievable. What kind of way of talking is that? Does he think he's an adult? So annoying. She glared at Enoch, and he coolly looked back at her. Their eyes met in midair, sparks flying invisibly between them. Grinding her teeth, Seshia muttered, What are you staring at? Suddenly a booming voice echoed through the hall. The light of Rutinus, His Majesty the Emperor, and His Highness the Crown Prince have arrived. Seshia whipped around. The Emperor? The crowd instantly erupted. Your Majesty! The Emperor appeared under everyone's gaze, with a young boy beside him. A noble whispered, Wow, that's the Emperor? He's handsome. I can't believe the Crown Prince came too. He shouldn't be at a place like this. Seshia sensed something odd in the atmosphere. Father, what's wrong? Is the Crown Prince not supposed to come? Her father explained, No, it's just that he has been frail since childhood. Everyone worries about him. He's brushed with death several times already. Seshia was startled. Really? At such a young age? So sick he can hardly even go outside. The Crown Prince is so pitiful. The Crown Prince's gaze seemed to sweep over the crowd. Seshia's heart jumped. Did our eyes just meet? I think he saw me. He looked a little weak, but he seemed like a good person. Seshia looked up and asked, Father, can't the Archbishop heal His Highness the Crown Prince? So he won't have to suffer anymore. Aren't they able to use holy power on the wounded? Her father's eyes turned grave. Even if the Archbishop can heal His Highness, he cannot eliminate the people who keep putting him in danger. Seshia pressed on. What do you mean? Is the Crown Prince in danger? Her father gently shook his head. You don't need to know that yet. That is a matter for adults. Seshia lowered her head. Okay, I never knew he was in such danger. I once heard that becoming that person's sword was the highest honor for a knight. At my current level, Enoch would probably become his knight instead. But I'll keep trying until the very end. I want to become a sword that can protect His Highness the Crown Prince. Jed stepped forward and bowed. Greetings, Your Majesty. It has been some time. You are as imposing as ever today. The Emperor looked at him. Duke Grey, it has indeed been a while. I have heard some rumors about your grandson. They say he is exceptionally clever. Jed smiled modestly. You flatter him. Please allow me to formally present him. Enoch. Enoch bowed deeply. It is an honor to meet you for the first time. I am Enoch Grey. The Emperor looked down at him. A gifted child indeed. He seems remarkably intelligent. I believe you will get along well with the Crown Prince. He guided the Crown Prince forward. Meet the future commander of the Grey Knights. The Crown Prince held out a hand. I'm pleased to meet you, Enoch. The Emperor turned as if to leave. Now then, I shall enjoy the banquet. Please keep the Crown Prince company for the time being. Jed answered respectfully. As you command, Your Majesty. We will take proper care of His Highness. The Emperor lowered his voice to Jed. When the Crown Prince ascends the throne, it would be good for him to have a close friend at his side to ease his loneliness. And if that friend were a knight of the Royal Guard, all the better. I leave it to you. The Emperor turned and walked away. Jed fell into thought. Is His Majesty considering bringing the Grey family into the Royal Guard? His support is so open that it feels suspicious. Grey and Metal have always been evenly matched, but the Royal Guard has always belonged to Metal. But this time is different. The gap in skill between Enoch and Seshia is enormous. Perhaps this time, Enoch, the one worthy of being called a genius, can finally fulfill the long-cherished wish of every member of House Grey. Footsteps approached. Your Highness, it's been a long time. The Crown Prince looked up in delight. It has been. Seshia stepped forward, standing tall. It is an honor to meet you for the first time. She smiled slightly. I'm Seshjon. Metal. The Crown Prince softly repeated her name. Seshia. His eyes lit up. I've been waiting for you. Excitedly clutching a book, he said, Do you know how much I want to talk about this book with someone my age from the Metal family? This is The Emperor's Mirror, a collection of stories about the founding emperor and the Duke of Metal. You've read it, haven't you? Seshia nodded. It's required reading for children in Rutinus. The Crown Prince said, Wonderful. I knew it. Suddenly he began coughing violently. Seshia's heart sank. Oh no. People around them cried out, Your Highness, are you all right? The Crown Prince forced a nod. I was just too excited. I'm Euphina. Jed hurriedly said, I'll summon a priest at once. The Crown Prince quickly stopped him. This happens often. It's all right. A trace of panic flashed in his eyes. I really should go back. But his eyes were full of pleading. Benedict stepped forward. Your Highness, please rest well today. Come visit our estate another day. The Crown Prince's face brightened. Really? That will be wonderful. Seshia looked at him. So young and already this sick. He was practically struggling just to stay alive. He can't even freely go out and play. How pitiful. Looking straight at the Crown Prince, she said, When you come visit our estate, I'll show you the Emperor's mirror handed down from the first head of our family as a member of House Metal. The Crown Prince flushed, his breathing quickening. That's incredible. Seshia waved goodbye to him. Then please rest well and recover soon. Smiling, she added, I look forward to seeing you again, Your Highness. Benedict gave a slight bow. I hope you will go now, Lord Jed. Jed turned. I will escort His Highness to the quarters of the divine officers. His eyes sharpened. Not bad. You got the Crown Prince to agree to visit your estate in one shot. He beckoned to the boy behind him. Let's go, Enoch. Enoch answered quietly, Yes. A faint unease rose in him. I'm far ahead of Seshia, and yet, for some reason, I can't shake the feeling that I'm going to lose. At the entrance to Mitro Forest, sunlight pierced through the trees. A host raised an amplifier and shouted, Thank you all for your patience. This is the fierce battlefield of the younger generation of noble houses and a golden opportunity on the road to knighthood in Rutinus, the Mitro Forest Hunting Tournament, personally overseen by His Majesty. The crowd looked up at the high platform, where the captains of many knight orders watched closely. Mercia placed a hand on Seshia's shoulder, her expression serious. Seshia, what did Mother tell you is most important? Seshia raised one finger, eyes resolute. Never take your eyes off your prey. Keep watching it until the very end. Her mother pressed further. And what are you best at? Seshia hesitated. What I'm best at? A faint smile curved Mercia's lips. As long as you keep your eyes on it, you'll understand naturally when the time comes. Her father came over. Don't worry. It's all right. I heard no monsters were released in the junior division's grounds, so Seshia will only encounter small herbivores. Her mother still looked uncertain. That may be true, but it's fine, Seshia said, drawing herself up proudly. I'm strong. The host shouted, Participants in the junior division, please gather over here. Seshia jumped up in excitement. It's finally starting. Her mother yelled, If it comes to being hurt, I'd rather you lose the match. Seshia protested, No. Then she paused. I'll remember that. She suddenly stopped in place and covered her mouth with both hands. Oh no, I said that backwards. This is the only chance I have to beat Enoch. I have to face him hard before he grows even stronger. If not now, I may never get another chance. Seshia rushed into the forest. No matter what, I have to catch more than Enoch. Enoch and the other boys were already gathered together. Seshia stopped and waved. Sesia. A blond boy replied, "Of course you are. You're from House Metal." Just then, a horn blared through the sky. Seshia jolted. What? It already started? Enoch had already disappeared without a trace. Seshia clenched her fists. That jerk just ran off without saying a word. A blond boy muttered, "I was going to say I give up, but she's already gone." The red-haired boy said, "I'll stay here. She'll come back eventually. I'll tell her then." Seshia is probably just like the other nobles. She has no interest in people like us. No matter how hard we try, this is a battle we were destined to lose. Several rabbits lay motionless on the ground. Seshia panted heavily and asked, "What are you two doing? Aren't you going hunting? If this keeps up, you'll lose." The blond boy explained, "Lady Seshia's prey and Enoch's prey are all over the place. We're just helping sort them." Seshia stared at them in shock. "Thank you, but if you do that, both of you will lose the competition. Starting now, I'll take care of your share. Go hunt." The red-haired boy shook his head. "It's fine. Winning or losing makes no difference anyway. It just causes trouble." The blond boy added, "No one cares about kid from lower-ranking noble families like us." Seshia could hardly believe it. What? The red-haired boy lowered his eyes. "My father said that if I'm placed in the same group as someone from House Metal or House Gray, I should give up immediately. If we win, we'll become traitors who ruin the showdown between the two great houses. If we lose, that's only natural. So no matter how hard we try, it's all the same." From the moment the groups were assigned, everything was already decided. Seshia's hand gripped her sword hilt, and it rang sharply. She exploded. "You idiots! You've had it wrong from the very beginning." The two boys jumped and looked at her at once. What? Sunlight filtered through the trees, lighting up Seshia's determined face. "If you beat me here, I'll show you exactly what happens." She grinned, eyes blazing. "This is like hitting the jackpot. Listen carefully." The two boys looked at each other, utterly confused. Seshia went on, "I'm going to explain this clearly right now. This is a perfect chance to profit while the two sides fight. So listen up." The red-haired boy looked blank. "Profit while the two sides fight? What's that supposed to mean?" Seshia said, "Do you really think just watching makes you a traitor? Of course not. Plenty of nobles only came to watch the showdown between House Metal and House Gray. Like you said, our families are the two biggest houses in this country. It's like watching the two biggest mansions catch fire at the same time. How could that not be entertaining?" She raised one finger. "So here's the question. If there's another house next to those burning mansions, and that one starts burning even more fiercely, do you think people will curse it as a traitor for blocking the fire they wanted to see? Or would they turn and admire that new blaze instead?" The two boys were speechless. Seshia kept one hand on her sword. "If Enoch and I win here, the Metal Knights and the Gray Knights will both scramble to take us. But if you win, if you defeat Genius Seshia and Ordinary Enoch, you get what I'm saying, right?" She winked playfully, about to continue. "All right then, let's begin the next round." Enoch had appeared without anyone noticing, a wild boar slung over his shoulder. "Genius Seshia and Ordinary Enoch, is it?" Seshia jumped. "When did you get here? If you came, why didn't you say anything?" Enoch set down his prey. "My grandfather always says this. Birth, family, looks, eloquence, even victory or defeat. A knight speaks only with the arrow." His eyes turned sharp. "Tell me, have the two of you spoken with your arrows today?" His icy gaze swept over them, and the air seemed to freeze. The pressure was overwhelming. The two boys shuddered. The red-haired boy stammered, "We haven't said a word. Not everyone has a heart as strong as yours." The blond boy went pale. "I thought it counted as proper manners." Seshia looked at him closely. "Your face seems familiar. Olivia Bradmore. You're a brother, aren't you?" The blond boy stared in shock. "How do you know that? Do you know my little sister?" A flash of memory from the carriage crossed her mind. That voice, those eyes. How could I forget? I was tormented the whole way here. Seshia came back to herself. "Never mind. That's not important right now. He said you've always wanted to join the Metal Knights." The blond boy blinked. "He told you that?" Seshia leaned closer. "Want to know a little trick to win the commander's favor?" The blond boy stiffened. "What is it?" Seshia gave a bright thumbs up and grinned. "My mom likes people with backbone, even if they lose, the kind who keep their teeth sunk in and never let go." The blond boy's pupils shook. He hurriedly called out to the red-haired boy, "Come on, Emmett. We don't have time to stand around here. Let's show them the spirit of lower-ranking nobles." Emmett nodded at once. Enoch withdrew his sword. "Since you didn't start from the same line, I'll give you 30 minutes. Seshia and I will wait here. Go hunt." Seshia flashed a grin. You just want to take the chance to rest, don't you? Because you're tired. Enoch closed his eyes. Be quiet, Seshia. The blonde and red-haired boys drew their swords. Then we won't hold back. Determination blazed in their eyes. Shouting, they charged into the woods. We'll beat them. Seshia watched their backs and murmured softly, how cute. Then Enoch suddenly spoke. Seshia. She turned back. What? Enoch said, did I ever tell you? If I win this competition, I can live with my mother again. Seshia's gaze froze. Really? That's wonderful. Enoch looked at her. Why are you happier than I am? Seshia hurried to explain. Because that's good news. Enoch's tone shifted. So, are you going to go easy on me and let me win? Seshia stared. What? She clenched both fists. Why would I do that? I'm going to crush you completely. The corners of Enoch's mouth lifted slightly. That's more like you. I like you better this way. That's why I said it. Lately, even when we're this close, you don't feel like vomiting anymore. Are you all right now? Seshia paused. Now that you mention it, that's true. Before, whenever I looked into Enoch's eyes, I felt sick. They were beautiful eyes, but the longer I stared, the stranger they felt, like there was some inexplicable familiarity in them. Enoch suddenly shouted, are you listening? You're too close. Seshia snapped back to herself. I didn't realize. Then a shrill little girl's voice tore through the quiet forest. No, you two can't get married. Seshia and Enoch turned at the same time, both startled. A little blonde girl stood not far away. Her face flushed red as she glared at them angrily. Seshia blinked in confusion. Olivia stomped her feet and marched toward them. You liar. You said you were going to marry your father, not Enoch. Seshia felt dizzy. That is not the issue right now. Why is her voice so high-pitched? Coming back to her senses, she asked, how did you get in here? Do you know how dangerous this place is? Olivia refused to back down. Why are you so mad? I heard there aren't any monsters in the junior division area. It's perfectly safe. Enoch stepped forward. Miss, even so, there's still wild animals here. Staying here is dangerous. Olivia turned her eyes toward him. Oh, Enoch. Enoch's tone grew serious. Only participants are allowed here, and this is a tournament hosted by His Majesty. You need to truthfully explain how you got in. Otherwise, if this reaches the Bradmore family, you won't escape responsibility. Olivia went pale with fright. You're going to tell my father and mother? She covered her cheeks with both hands. My brother is paired with Enoch, so I wanted to come see Enoch. She began to cry and plead. Please don't tell my father and mother. Seshia held her forehead. My head hurts. Enoch analyzed the situation calmly. Sir Osric Bradmore will be here soon. We have no choice but to escort her out. Seshia said, if we get caught, at worst we'll just get scolded. But if another noble family is humiliated at a tournament like this, their future is ruined. Olivia cried out, my brother worked so hard for this. Seshia looked helpless. And whose fault is that exactly? She fell into thought. What should I do? I need to protect the honor of Sir Osric, who only just became a knight, safely get Olivia out of the forest, and still win my match against Enoch. Outside the imperial tent, banners fluttered. A knight strode in quickly. Yes, your majesty. Right now. Understood. The emperor let out a soft laugh. The crown prince asked in confusion, your majesty, why are you laughing? The emperor replied, I'm simply looking forward to seeing who will win this competition. What is your prediction, your highness? The crown prince answered confidently, I have always favored House Metal, but this time I think Gray will win. The emperor sounded intrigued. Why do you think so? The crown prince explained, in the emperor's mirror as I know it, Metal is strong, but never values victory over protecting the weak. I saw a young lady follow Seshia into the forest. If Seshia has to protect her, then she will most likely lose to Gray. The emperor looked thoughtful. A young lady. He took a sip from his cup. This seems to be getting more interesting. Seshia was torn. How am I supposed to resolve this situation and still beat Enoch? I worked so hard to defeat him. Am I supposed to ignore Sir Osric's fate completely and just make him take Olivia out? After all, the one at fault is Olivia. Seshia closed her eyes and took a deep breath. All right, I give up the competition. It's the only way. Enoch stared at her in shock. What? Seshia said, I'll take Olivia back. Then Osric will be fine. Tears swimming in her eyes, Olivia whispered, Seshia. Seshia turned to face her. Come on, I'll take you to the exit. Olivia's voice shook. Are you sure? You prepared for this competition for so long. Seshia forced out a smile. It's a shame, but I don't want to turn a blind eye to someone in trouble. The motto of House Metal is to protect and defend those weaker than ourselves. If I leave you and Osric alone and walk away, I get kicked out of the house even if I won the tournament. In exchange, promise me you'll stop pestering Enoch. Enoch abruptly looked up. Wait, if you withdraw, then what am I supposed to do? Seshia smiled faintly. You still have to keep hunting. This is still a competition. Enoch said, I'll help too. Seshia replied, the whole point of this hunting tournament is the rivalry between you and me. If we act together and get caught, there'd be no way to explain it. Besides, don't you have a reason you absolutely must win? Enoch's eyes hardened. Yes, I have a reason I absolutely must win. Because of my mother. I waited too long. Seshia's voice turned firm. Then focus on winning. If you don't, everything happening now will turn into humiliation. Enoch called Seshia's name in a low voice. He must have his own reason for needing to win. Seshia wrapped an arm around Olivia's shoulders. Let's go, Olivia. Don't worry. I'll get you back safely. Olivia shuddered all over. Seshia looked at her. What's wrong? Why are you suddenly shaking? Olivia pointed ahead in terror. What is that? Seshia followed her finger. What? A giant boar emerged from the darkness. Its eyes glowed a vivid red. Seshia's pupils contracted. What is that? A massive demonic beast with antlers. Weren't all the monsters supposed to have been exterminated? Why is there a low-grade demonic beast here? She moved Olivia behind her. Don't move. Stay behind me. After coming to this world, I heard about demonic beasts from Mother. They usually stay in Crichton, but sometimes they break into human territory. They can't suppress their urge to kill humans. Enoch stepped forward. Seshia, it's a low-grade demonic beast. Seshia nodded. I know. But no matter how much of a genius Enoch is, there's no way he can stop it. And I certainly can't. But if we can't stop it, Seshia's legs trembled. It wasn't just Olivia. Emmett and Osric, who would be back any moment now, would be in danger too. She tightened her grip on her sword. I have to fight. Engraved on the blade was Father's dedication. With love for our pride, CES to CIA. Seshia murmured, Father. She raised her sword. That's right. I'm Father's proud daughter. A member of the metal family. A proud noble who protects the weak. Mother always said that. Never take your eyes off your prey. Watch it until the very end. The demonic beast roared and charged. What I'm best at is the thing I've practiced hundreds, thousands of times. She let out a fierce shout, a flash of light. Even if my mind goes blank, my body remembers the movement. Seshia's sword cleanly severed one of the beast's antlers. Blood sprayed. The monster let out a shrill scream. Seshia shouted, Enoch, now, cut off its breath. Enoch's eyes sharpened. He kicked off the ground, shooting forward like an arrow loose from a bow. Then he leaped high, gripping the hilt with both hands and pouring all his strength into it. He brought his sword down. A fierce blue arc tore through the darkness and struck the beast squarely in the neck. Enoch landed steadily as rain began to fall. Breathing hard, he muttered, Did I hit it? Seshia collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath. Enoch's gaze turned to her. See, he spun around. Rain soaked his face, and his eyes were full of shock and regret. He stood there like a fool. This is bad. Enoch's hand trembled. Blood dripped from the blade. Seshia snapped me out of my paralysis and struck the vital point. My playmate. Seshia sat slumped in the rain, breathing heavily. Is it over? Olivia screamed and threw herself toward her. Sister Seshia. Seshia forced out a weak smile. Moon-mosa. I'm still alive. Olivia burst into tears, clutching her hands to her chest. Thank you so much for saving me. I only survived because of you. Seshia's gaze was steady. It's enough that you're safe. There was a rustle in the bushes. Seshia immediately went on alert. Who's there? A voice answered urgently. It's me. Emmett and Osric stepped out of the woods. Osric stared at Olivia in shock. Why are you here? And what is all this? Enoch stood in the rain, the corpse of the demonic beast beside him. He hurried to speak, but Seshia cut him off. Enoch killed the demonic beast. The chaos will start soon. Take Olivia and leave while there's an opening. No one will notice. Olivia moved into her brother's arms. Osric frowned. What is this? Seshia urged him on. I'll explain later. There's no time. Hurry. Osric took Olivia's hand. All right, let's go, Olivia. Emmett turned to Seshia. Lady Seshia, I'll escort them out safely. Seshia nodded. I'm counting on you. The three of them turned and disappeared into the rain. Seshia looked after them and let out a long breath. What a chaotic day. Then she turned around. Right? Enoch, are you all right? Enoch's voice was cold. Why did you lie? Seshia looked confused. What? Enoch's voice shook. Don't play dumb. Why? Seshia took a sharp step back. Her body froze with fear. Could it be? She covered her mouth, her pupils shrinking in extreme shock. What is this? Why is that man from my past life overlapping with Enoch? He had many subordinates. The people who killed my parents and tried to kill me too. They managed his finances. They plotted political schemes for him. That shadow slowly spoke. You're late again. Detective, we meet again. He turned his head, a playful smile tugging at his lips. Did you come to see me on purpose? I ground my teeth. You again, Yoon Do-yoon, my enemy. Seshia let out a pained groan. Enoch hurried toward her. Are you okay? Don't come closer. Enoch rushed forward. Are you all right? Seshia stopped him. Don't come near me. He froze. What was that just now? Why did that face overlap with Enoch's? Enoch wiped away the blood with the back of his hand. Is it because of the demonic beast's blood? Are you all right now? Seshia turned back to look. Maybe it was the hair color. The nauseating feeling had disappeared. She let out a breath. I'm fine now. How strange. Enoch is completely different from that man. Yoon Do-yoon is a bastard. Enoch is just a little rude. He's not a bad person. Enoch turned sharply away. Since you're fine now. He pulled his sword free from the beast. We have to. Seshia looked at him. What? Enoch raised his sword. Come on, let's duel fair and square. Seshia stared at him in disbelief. A duel? What are you talking about? Enoch said, you restrained the beast. You lied to Osric and said I was the one who took it down. So we'll settle it with swords and see who the real stronger one is. Seshia fumed. You were the one who cut off its breath. Enoch replied, I'm a gray. His tone was stiff. I'm not pleased with a victory handed to me by the metal family. Seshia snapped back. Who handed anything to you? Do you think I called you over because I didn't want to die? I wanted to take it down myself, until the very last second, but I let go of my sword. Enoch fell silent, and Seshia continued. So yes, you were the one who finished it. If you hadn't cut off its breath, I would have died on the spot. She clenched her fists. Don't get smug just because you won this once. That doesn't mean I've completely lost. There will be plenty of chances to beat you later. The two faced each other in the rain. Enoch muttered under his breath. She still wants to learn the sword. Seshia thought to herself. That's right. There isn't a single thing about you I like. But thank you for letting me learn swordsmanship. When I looked into Olivia's eyes, I remembered why I became a detective. An elderly couple wiped their tears with handkerchiefs. Thanks to Tony, my daughter can rest in peace now. At first, it was to avenge my parents, but realizing that I could help others, that I could become someone's salvation. What an incredible feeling that was. With these two hands, I protected someone. The instinct to drive a mana sword into a demonic beast's weak point. That exhilarating sense of standing my ground was unforgettable. I want to learn more swordsmanship. I've fallen in love with the sword. Pure joy bloomed across Seshia's face. Her heart raced. Enoch quietly watched her. She really does enjoy learning the sword. Flags fluttered. The crowd cheered. Enoch. Enoch walked down the red carpet with firm steps. The crowd whispered among themselves. He defeated a demonic beast at such a young age. Is it true? Has the Gray family finally produced a genius who surpasses the Metal family? Enoch kept a blank expression, clenching his fists. Reporters surrounded Duke Jed Gray. Congratulations, Duke Gray. Please say a few words. Jed said, that child is the beginning of a new history for the Gray family. A proud smile spread across his face. He will become the start of a legend. The first Gray to serve the crown prince. On the throne, the emperor lightly swirled his wine glass and watched everything with amusement. How terrifying, as expected of the head of the Gray family. Resting his chin on one hand, he thought, it seems you've seen through the game I laid out. He took a small sip of wine. But isn't everything turning out exactly as you wanted? If Enoch wins the hunting tournament, then you'll have your reason to make the Gray family the next royal guard. So shouldn't you cooperate with the path I want as well? You'll do that for me, won't you, master? Mercia and Benedict stood among the crowd, their expressions complicated. On a lush green forest path, a voice called out, Commander Mercia. Mercia turned at the sound. Marchioness Bradmore, what can I do for you? The Marchioness Bradmore approached with Olivia. There's something I must tell you. Please forgive me. I'm truly so sorry. Mercia went pale with shock. Good heavens, what are you doing? Marchioness, please stand. The Marchioness lifted her head. My daughter, Olivia. She told me everything. She secretly followed Lady Seshia into the forest, and when Lady Seshia encountered a demonic beast, she protected my daughter. Mercia's eyes narrowed slightly in disbelief. Seshia did that. Then our daughter. Olivia hurried to explain. Lady Seshia only injured her palm a little, but she's fine. I apologize for my reckless behavior. I only caused trouble for everyone. It was all my fault. Mercia let out a breath of relief. Determination shone in her eyes. Protecting Miss Bradmore is the honor of a Metal Knight. So please don't blame yourself, Miss Olivia. She stood up. Dear, we should take our leave. The Marchioness looked back at Mercia's retreating figure. She really is an admirable person, isn't she? Olivia tightly held her mother's hand. Yes, mother. She's so cool. Benedict pointed into the distance. Look over there. Mercia followed his gaze. Where? Sessia poked her head out from the bushes. Father, mother, Benedict and Mercia cried out at the same time. Sessia. Sessia opened her arms and ran toward them happily. I'm back. She threw herself into her parents' arms, and the three of them embraced tightly. Her mother said gently, Welcome back, my daughter. Did you have fun? Sessia beamed. I did. Mother, I have something to tell you. Her golden eyes sparkled. I think I've fallen in love with the sword. She closed her eyes, smiling blissfully. Her parents pulled her tightly into their embrace. That's enough, as long as you're happy. Wooden sword splinters flew. The blade came straight for Enoch. If you're even 1 second slower, your head is gone. Enoch gritted his teeth. In real combat, there's no time to think about sword techniques. You have to rely on what your body remembers. With a shout, he swung hard to block. A flash of sword light. The wooden sword was knocked from his hands and slammed to the ground. The swordsmanship instructor looked pleased, as expected of young Master Enoch. We'll stop here for today. Enoch bowed slightly. Thank you for your hard work, Master Lawrence. People around them murmured, as expected of the youngest hunting tournament champion. The time has finally come. The Gray family can finally crush the Metal family. Enoch lowered his eyes. I did win the hunting tournament, but when I faced that demonic beast, there was an even greater truth between Sessia and me. Sessia rushed in without hesitation, while I couldn't move. I don't deserve all this praise. Sunlight filtered through the trees, scattering patches of light and shadow. He sat down against the trunk. He opened a letter. To my beloved son, Enoch, I'm sorry I can't witness your achievements with my own eyes, because I am in Crichton. But the Duke said that if good news came from this tournament, he would call me back to the estate. With your current ability, that shouldn't be difficult. And if that happens, I'll be able to return to the Duke's side as well. I miss you very much. My son. Enoch pressed the letter tightly to his chest. Yes, it's all right. This is enough. Hope reignited in his eyes. I'll be able to see you soon, mother. But then, Dana Gray disappeared. At the Gray estate, a magnificent castle stood beneath the blue sky. Enoch was practicing with his sword. The Emperor leaned against the doorframe, a wineglass in hand. Just as I expected, he really is a genius, defeating a demonic beast at such a young age. He turned to the Duke behind him. Wouldn't you agree? Duke Jed frowned deeply. Your Majesty, are you referring to the demonic beast you released? What you did this time went too far. What family will dare send their children to the hunting tournament after this? I heard the Bradmore family's daughter also entered the forest. Was that your intention as well? The Emperor spread his hands and gave a light laugh. How frightening. That wasn't my doing. I'm innocent. The Duke glared at the Emperor. So you already knew. What exactly are you plotting? The Emperor replied lightly. Plotting? A hunting tournament hosted by the Imperial family. You played a joke that endangered the children's lives. The Emperor turned his face away. He said nothing for a moment, then set his wineglass on the table. You need 1 or 2 demonic beasts to see the true potential of future commanders, don't you? Besides, my knights were present, so it wasn't dangerous. And just as I wished, Enoch displayed extraordinary ability. Isn't that what you wanted too? The Duke's expression changed. The Emperor continued to lay the foundation for Enoch becoming the Emperor's sword. He leaned over the table with both hands braced against it. This time, I sincerely hope the Gray family will produce a royal guard, someone who can protect the crown prince. Then you will be able to thoroughly defeat the Metal family and win this long-standing rivalry. It is the victory you and your ancestors have always desired. The Duke's profile tightened. Why are you willingly offering me what I want? The Emperor replied, as you know, Routinus needs new knights. Young knights with keen minds. A genius who can protect the people from the monsters of Crichton. His eyes sharpened. A knight like Enoch Gray could become a hero of this age. The Duke said, Enoch certainly is an outstanding knight, but this makes no sense. Just because Enoch is a genius, you would grant him the title of the Emperor's sword? That doesn't add up. Scrolls lay scattered across the desk. Was he really after? The Imperial family would never show the Gray family such favor without reason. The Duke turned away. His footsteps echoed as he sat down heavily with a tired sigh. I understand. He pressed a hand to his forehead. Your Majesty, may I speak frankly to you, as I did in the past? The emperor bowed his head slightly. Of course, teacher. The duke's voice was heavy. It has been a long time since Dana was ordered to go to Crichton. Did something happen to Dana? The emperor listened expressionlessly. As expected of my teacher. This makes talking much easier. The duke's gaze turned sharp. Is your proposal to make Enoch a royal guard meant to keep me silent about the disappearance of the commander of the Grey Knights? The emperor admitted it calmly. Yes, teacher, let us settle Dana's disappearance like this. You have no choice but to accept it. This is politics. The duke's lips trembled with anger. Is that what I taught you? His voice went cold. You become quite cowardly, hiding because you're afraid of being blamed. The emperor's eyes flickered. What? The duke looked at him directly. You must have agonized over this all night, thinking desperately about what kind of terms would keep the Duke of Grey, who has lost his daughter, silent. The emperor tried to defend himself. What are you talking about? I'm merely stating the imperial family's position. The duke cut him off. Admit it honestly. Even a late emperor understood this, but you do not. The emperor stiffened. The duke's voice rang out clearly. When you do wrong, you apologize first. Only after that do you consider what courtesy is owed to the Grey family. The emperor pressed his lips together, his face darkening. The duke's rebuke continued. Since you also learn the sword, then when handling serious matters, you should behave like one who bears a drawn blade. A swordsman must never shrink before an obstacle. If he does, his head will fall in the blink of an eye. He let out a quiet sigh. The reason I lecture you like this is because I do not want you to become an enemy of the Grey family. My overstepping lesson ends here. He bowed deeply. This subject takes his leave. A trace of bitterness surfaced in the emperor's expression. I actually try to play petty tricks on my own teacher. He spoke. If you still regard me as your true student, please help me. The duke paused. The emperor continued, you must know that the empress is trying to take the crown prince's life. This is not merely my suspicion. It is a fact every noble already knows. His expression turned earnest. It is not only poison. Recently she has even sent assassins and conducted curse rituals. I do want Enoch to become the crown prince's guard. But the truth is, I don't care whether he is from the Grey family or the Metal family. I need a knight who would give his life for the frail crown prince. A true knight, at last. A trace of relief appeared on the duke's face. Now you sound like the man I knew. News of Dana's disappearance will spread through all of Retinus in an instant. Once Crichton's shield disappears, refugees will pour in. The Empress will use that chaos to make her move. The Emperor's fist clenched hard. Then a bloody battle for the throne will become unavoidable. Enoch is also a member of the Empress's family. If the Empress succeeds in seizing power, he will be cast aside for being too close to the Grey family. If the Empress fails, he will be purged. The Emperor looked at him pleadingly. Teacher, please stop that monster of an Empress. I beg you. The Duke's gaze dimmed. Enoch's father is the Empress's younger brother. I should have known that child had gotten caught in her sins as well. To be separated from his mother at such a young age. Why must he be offered up to such a cruel fate? Sunlight filled the courtyard. Benedict frowned. Seshia isn't ready yet? Didn't I make myself clear earlier? The butler smiled politely. I did relay the message, sir, but she said she will not attend the investiture ceremony. Benedict looked dumbfounded. What? Why? The butler suggested, if your grace were to speak with her personally. Benedict turned. I will. He raised a hand and knocked on a door. A voice came from inside. Kulmeen. He opened it. My daughter, what's wrong? He froze in place. What is going on here? Seshia looked up brightly. Father, you're here. Several girls surrounded her. Olivia came with some maids, and they brought delicious desserts too. Father, would you like some? Benedict shook his head. No, thank you. More importantly, isn't this a little too imposing on the Marquis's daughter? Olivia stepped forward. I'm doing this willingly. Seshia was injured because she saved me. I want to help her. Benedict coughed lightly. I see. I'd like to speak with her alone. Could you give us a little space? Seshia turned to Olivia. Would you let me talk with Father alone? Olivia nodded. Of course. Benedict sat at the bedside, looking at his daughter. This reminds me of your mother when she was young. Seshia blinked. What do you mean? Her father's eyes were full of warmth. I mean that you, too, will begin to gather many followers. Mercia was the same. It started with 1 or 2 people, and now many nobles follow her. Protecting others with a blade is the privilege of one who bears the sword. Seshia, you did well. Seshia's cheeks flushed. Hee hee. Thank you. Her father continued. The medal from the hunting tournament is a kind of privilege as well. Why don't you want to attend the investiture ceremony? The pastry in Seshia's hand stopped midair. Enoch was the one who killed the beast. Her father said. Even so, Enoch himself said it was thanks to your excellent mortal strike. Do you have some other wish instead? Seshia lifted her head, her gaze firm. Yes, father. Actually, I have a request. She raised her bandaged arm. I don't care whether Enoch gets the medal. This is what matters more. Because of this, I've been forbidden from practicing swordsmanship. I'm so bored. Father, you know how much I love the sword. I'm completely healed now. Can you let me start practicing again? Her father looked troubled. But Seshia, that has to be decided by your physician. And the family head gave strict orders that training is absolutely forbidden. Seshia protested eagerly. I won't push myself, but if this keeps up, I'll forget everything. Enoch is definitely still training right now. She lowered her head. Sorry, I'm being too selfish. Her father placed a hand on her shoulder. I used to worry that you were growing up too quickly. Now, strangely, I feel reassured. You really must love swordsmanship. The blood of this family cannot be denied. Then his tone shifted. It's not that there's absolutely no way. Seshia jerked her head up. What do you mean? Her father smiled. Am I not the strategist of the metal family? He chuckled. You knew that already, didn't you? That's why you came to ask me. Seshia froze. Her cheeks turned red. The investiture hall blazed with light. Congratulations on receiving your medal, Lady Seshia. Seshia accepted a glass of juice. Thank you, Sir Osric. Have you joined the Metal Knights as well? Osric smiled shyly. Yes, thanks to you. But I heard training has already started. Is your arm all right? Seshia lifted her bandaged arm. Oh, it's not fully healed yet, so I've only started lower body training. Osric stared in astonishment. What? What do you mean by that? Seshia clenched her fist, her eyes shining. My father said if your upper body is injured, train your lower body. If your right hand is hurt, train your left. Osric was dumbfounded. Is it really necessary to go that far? I could already tell during the hunting tournament. Lady Seshia truly loves swords. Her eyes sparkle whenever she talks about swordsmanship. If she weren't engaged to Sir Enoch, would I be able to ask her out? Seshia asked curiously, have you ever done lower body training? A hand suddenly seized Osric's shoulder. Osric turned in fright. Sir Enoch. Enoch looked at him expressionlessly. Sir Osric, have you been resting well? Osric stammered. I have. I was just about to go get something to eat. Enoch said, then enjoy your meal. Seshia looked at Enoch. He seemed a little agitated. Is he too tired? Enoch spoke. You do remember that we're engaged, right? Seshia nodded. I do. What is it? Enoch was silent for a moment, his eyes tense. Then he closed them. Nothing. I think there are just too many people in the hall. I'm a little on edge. I don't care about the medal. I just want to go home and rest. Seshia looked at him in confusion. You're the main attraction. Where are you going? Enoch said, I don't need the medal. I'm just tired. Two knights nearby whispered. Look at that expression. Since he didn't get to finish off the beast with his own hands, he must be in a terrible mood. Another voice cut in. If it weren't for Enoch, someone from the metal family would be a corpse right now. The tone was openly contemptuous. What did you say? A gray family knight advanced. Can you do nothing but swing a sword without thinking? Is that thing on your shoulders just decoration? Is your brain not working? A metal family knight roared back. What? Are you done talking? A family that will always be second dare act so arrogantly? The gray knight shot back. Who are you calling second rate? Want to settle it right here? A metal knight drew his sword. Fine. Come on. Let's see which family is truly the best. Enoch turned to Seshia. Seshia, hurry and go get an adult. Seshia stared at him in alarm. A voice sounded in her mind. Detective, did you miss me? Seshia's whole body stiffened, her face turning pale with shock. Enoch's voice pulled her back. Seshia. Seshia suddenly stepped back, her hand pressed against her chest. She was still rattled, breathing unevenly. Enoch's pupils widened in alarm. A metal family knight shouted, drag that gray lunatic out of here. A gray knight shouted back, today we'll show those metal bastards who's in charge. We'll show them which side is superior. A man screamed and went down. He fell hard to the floor. The area erupted into chaos. Rubbing his head as he stood, he said, I was trying to squeeze through, and I tripped. Everyone stared in shock. Lord Edward smiled. Gentlemen and ladies of the metal family, sirs of the Grey Knights, hello. And Seshia, it's been a while. Seshia exclaimed, Uncle. Enoch froze where he stood. Father. Edward turned. Do you know how long I've been looking for you? Then he added, do you know how delicious Marchioness Lila's bread is? If possible, could I have afternoon tea with the children? The knights hurriedly nodded. Of course. Enjoy your tea. Lord Edward lifted a hand lightly. Thank you. Then I'll be going now. He placed a hand on Seshia's shoulder. Seshia, let's go. Seshia answered obediently. Yes. Is beauty more useful than a blade? Maybe. The door opened softly. Edward said, then please rest here a while before coming back out. Seshia looked puzzled. Uncle, what about the desserts? Enoch explained quietly. Seshia, don't you get it? He just made up an excuse to get us out of there. Seshia suddenly understood. Edward smiled warmly. Rest well. Seshia and Enoch got to their feet and replied, thank you, Uncle. Thank you, Father. The door closed. Seshia let out a long sigh. We're finally saved. Do members of your knight orders really just start fighting all of a sudden too? She turned. What's wrong? Why are your eyes so wide? Enoch stared directly at her. Seshia, what was that just now? Seshia's eyes darted away. What are you talking about? Enoch cut her off. You know what I mean. When I said we should go greet the adults, you avoided me. Seshia looked flustered. Enoch lowered his head. Did I do something that made you uncomfortable? Or are you still upset that I took the credit for the hunt? Seshia denied it firmly. That kind of thing doesn't matter at all. Enoch pressed on. Then what is it? Seshia hesitated. Actually, I have a request. Enoch blinked slightly. A request? Seshia's gaze turned firm. It's nothing major. If you agree to my request, then I'll tell you. Enoch frowned. I need to know what it is before I can decide. Seshia insisted. If you want to know, you have to agree first. No matter what, you have to say yes. Enoch spread his hands. That's not a request. That's an order. Seshia turned away. Fine, then forget it. After a moment of silence, Enoch sighed. All right, I agree. Say it. Seshia immediately turned back, smiling brightly. Really? That's great. She cleared her throat. Enoch, say this after me. Enoch stiffened. Say what? Seshia leaned close to him. Slowly, clearly. Detective. She grabbed Enoch's sleeve. Call me detective. Enoch looked utterly baffled. What does that even mean? Seshia repeated, say it. Call me detective. Enoch was completely lost. What on earth is that supposed to mean? Seshia's cheeks flushed, and her tone grew urgent. Don't ask questions, just do what I say. Hurry. As she looked at Enoch's face, that familiar sensation rose again. Maybe if Enoch calls me by that title, I'll be able to figure out the connection between him and Yoon Do-yoon. Enoch's voice dropped low. Detective. He looked at Seshia. Are you satisfied now? Seshia froze completely. She couldn't remember anything. Enoch might be a bit of a jerk, but there's no way he has anything to do with that man. Enoch said, it seems someone used to call you that nickname before. Seshia hurriedly shook her head. It's not a nickname. Just forget it. Enoch stepped closer. What? How can you say to forget it that easily? He clenched his teeth. Seshia looked at him confused. What? Why are you mumbling like that? That's not like you at all. Enoch lifted a finger. I agreed to your request, so now you have to keep your promise too. Seshia was startled by the sudden gesture. What? Enoch's eyes were earnest. Promise me you won't do that again. Don't look at me while thinking of someone else. Seshia looked away. Why would I do that? A commotion sounded outside, and Seshia became alert at once. Did something happen out there? Enoch looked straight at her. Promise me. Seshia frowned. He's just a little kid, so why does he keep making me feel so strange? She held out her hand. Fine. She cleared her throat. Anyway, it's really noisy outside. Let's go out now. Enoch looked at her quietly. All right. Seshia sighed inwardly in relief. That was so awkward, but at least he looks less tense now. The two pushed open the door. A maid said yes. They'll be here any moment. Seshia blinked in confusion. Who's coming? The maid announced excitedly, someone you don't normally get to see. Someone you can only see today. Her Majesty the Empress. Footsteps sounded. A woman in a luxurious blue gown approached, holding the hand of a young boy. Empress Isabella Leopoldo Retinus. Second Prince Adair Leopoldo Retinus. Seshia asked softly, she's so beautiful. She's your father's sister, right? Enoch answered, probably. Father never talks about her, but she looks exactly like my uncle. Seshia looked at the family. Their genes are really strong. Edward came hurrying over. Seshia called out, Uncle. Edward's face was pale. Seshia, Enoch, it's about time we headed home. Something urgent has come up. Seshia and Enoch immediately answered. All right. Seshia looked up at Uncle Edward. Are you really okay? You don't look well. Edward forced himself to stay calm. I'm fine. I just worked up a bit of sweat. Seshia looked him over carefully. This is more than just a bit of sweat. Looking closer, Uncle looks like he's trembling, like he's afraid, or on guard. Edward forced a smile. Goodbye, Seshia. Enjoy yourself. Seshia waved goodbye. I should go find Father too. Empress Isabella stepped into their path. Edward, it's been a long time. Are you leaving without even greeting your sister? Edward's body stiffened. Isabella's tone was cold. How disappointing. Do you truly not understand how your sister feels? Is this really how family should be? Edward bowed stiffly. Your Majesty. Isabella's gaze fell on Enoch. Seeing my lovely nephew for the first time makes me feel even better. Edward spoke firmly. Forgive my bluntness, Your Majesty, but I have severed ties with the main family. He pulled Enoch behind him. This child is not your nephew, and I am not your brother. So please withdraw your interest from child. Enoch looked up in confusion. Father. Edward bowed again. I am unwell. I will take my leave now. Isabella watched them silently, her expression unreadable. Seshia felt a chill. The atmosphere turned cold all at once. Isabella's tone did not change. What on earth is wrong with you? As your sister, I would very much like to know. Anger flared in Edward's eyes. Stop calling yourself my sister. His voice shook as he burst out, I'll say it again. Your Majesty, it makes me uncomfortable when you keep bringing up family ties. Please stop saying that. Isabella's face remained calm, but the fact that we are family will not change. Are you still angry with me? Seshia felt uneasy. This is the first time I've ever seen Uncle this angry. Isabella coaxed softly. Shall we calm down and talk, my dear younger brother? Guests around Edward began to whisper. What's going on? Isn't the younger brother being a little too much? She is his sister, after all. Sir Edward is being rather rude. Seshia frowned. What? Edward pressed a hand to his forehead, swaying on his feet. Please let me leave. I really don't feel well. Isabella said. Shouldn't you clear up this misunderstanding with your sister before you go? You haven't even said goodbye to Enoch yet. Seshia bit her lip hard. Uncle clearly said he doesn't want that, but the Empress keeps insisting she's his sister. This feels strange. And if Uncle is really sick, why won't you let him go? Isabella pressed closer. Tell your sister where it hurts. Seshia's thoughts raced. The Empress feels strange, completely different from how she looks. In any case, I'm on Uncle's side. Is there any way I can help him? It seems he can't leave without permission because of protocol. How can I get him out of this? A flash went through Seshia's eyes. I've got it. I just need to make a scene. She dashed toward Uncle Edward. Are you all right? You're drenched in cold sweat. You're about to faint. You just said you had a fever and you were in pain. Your face is so pale. She turned to Enoch. Right? Enoch, he needs to go rest right away, doesn't he? Seshia shot him a look. Hurry, and help me get Uncle out of here. Enoch understood instantly. Right? Father, let's return to the estate quickly. What if you faint again like last time? The guests murmured among themselves. My goodness, Sir Edward is in such poor condition. He really should go back and rest at once. Seshia looked directly at Isabella. Your Majesty surely can see that Uncle is unwell. Please, quickly. At this rate, he'll collapse. He's about to lose consciousness. If Uncle faints here, that will become a problem for the imperial family. Isabella forced a stiff smile. Did you think I would stop a sick man? I was only concerned for him. Seshia watched coldly. If you were really concerned, you would have let him leave sooner. This is too strange. Edward's face was white, cold sweat running down it. Then I shall take my leave. He put a hand on Enoch's shoulder and turned away, his steps heavy. Seshia waved at their retreating backs. Then she suddenly came to her senses. Right? I should have gone with them. Isabella's lips curled into a faint sneer. Seshia clasped her hands tightly. So tense. Anyone could tell she was angry. But I didn't say anything wrong. Uncle really was feeling unwell. As both Empress and sister, shouldn't she have known that better than anyone? She clenched her teeth. Don't be scared. I only said what needed to be said. He took a deep breath, straightened his back, and apologized for the belated greeting. Your Majesty, I am Seshia of House Metal. Isabella looked down at her. Oh, so you're the young lady of House Metal. It seems you care a great deal for Edward. A gentle smile hung on her face. I'm glad to know there's someone else who feels the same way I do. Who cares about Edward? Seshia smiled brightly. Of course I do. I really care about Uncle. If you truly care about someone, you can tell when they're hurting and when they don't want to talk. Isabella's smile froze at once. This little brat dares lecture me? Seshia stared right back without the slightest fear. I don't care if you're the Empress. Stop bothering my uncle. Besides, you're not really going to hold it against a 7-year-old, are you? Isabella bent down to look at Seshia. The young lady of House Metal is truly adorable. Just what I'd expect from a member of that family. She turned and took the second prince's hand. Adair, let's go back. It's a pity, but there will be many more chances to see Enoch and Edward. Seshia gave a slight bow. Please take care, Your Majesty. Just what I'd expect from a member of House Metal. What exactly did she mean by that? Seshia turned and walked over to a knight. Please get me a glass of water. The knight looked at her. Where did you go? Seshia said. I was just talking to Her Majesty the Empress. Does the Empress hate House Metal? The knight handed her a cup of water and explained softly, more or less. The man she once loved proposed to Lady Mercia. Seshia's eyes widened. What? He proposed to my mother? Who would dare? The knight said. His Majesty the Emperor. Seshia spat out her mouth full of water. The knight continued, but His Majesty ended up marrying the Empress, so I suppose things turned out all right in the end. Seshia set down the cup. So she really does have a reason to hate our family. Did I stir up a hornet's nest? She wiped her mouth with a handkerchief. Looks like I really offended her. But I'm only 7. She can't actually do anything to a child, right? It shouldn't be too serious, right? Night fell. A voice called from the distance. Seshia, where are you? The door burst open, and her mother rushed in. Seshia, startled awake. Seshia sat bolt upright in bed and rubbed her eyes in confusion. Mom, what's wrong? Her mother rushed to the bedside. What exactly did you say to the Empress? Seshia looked innocent. I didn't say anything strange. Her mother's voice turned sharp. You never should have spoken to her at all. Seshia protested. How was I supposed to know? Her mother said. Why would you do something like that? Her father came over quickly. Dear, I know you're worried, but please calm down. He placed a hand on her shoulder. We never told Seshia anything about the Empress. Her mother's voice trembled. And of all people, it had to be the Empress. And in the worst possible way. While we weren't there, after Dana was born, her father pulled her into his arms and gently stroked her hair. It's all right. I'm here. Seshia looked at her mother's trembling back. Mom looks really uneasy. Did something happen to Aunt Dana? Her mother broke free from her husband's embrace. I want to be alone for a while. Her father watched her leave. All right. Mercia, Seshia spoke up. Dad, did something happen to Aunt Dana? A troubled look flashed across her father's face. I don't know the details either. Your mother and I are both waiting for the head of the family to return and explain everything. Your mother was probably just frightened by what you said to the Empress yesterday. Seshia asked, did I do something wrong? Her father fell silent for a moment, his eyes filled with complicated emotion. Then he opened his arms. Come here. Seshia threw herself into his embrace. Dad. Her father held her gently. Yes, if you said something wrong, then you can apologize later. Seshia mumbled, Dad, I will. Mercia roared. You're saying there was nothing you could do? Don't lie. You simply chose not to save her. That's exactly your style. To you, the family's reputation matters more than a human life, doesn't it? Her father, Sedfiel, flew into a rage. Mercia, how dare you insult your own father? Seshia spoke up. Dad, what's going on? Her father said, Seshia, stay in your room and don't come out, understand? Seshia asked in confusion, why are Mom and Grandpa fighting? Her father gently stroked her cheek. I'm going to see what's happening. Will you stay here? Seshia nodded obediently. Okay. Her father forced a smile. Good girl. He turned and left. The sound of his footsteps gradually faded. A sense of dread came over Seshia. What happened to Aunt Dana? I'm worried about her. But what troubled me even more was this. Enoch must have been waiting for a long time. From what Mom said, it sounded like Aunt Dana had been hurt. He had stayed in Clayton all this time. Was she injured there? How badly was she hurt? Don't tell me it was so serious she couldn't come back. Does Enoch know yet? Seshia's face went pale. He wouldn't recklessly run off to Clayton, would he? To protect me, Father ultimately chose to say nothing. But the next day, the Routinist Weekly ran an enormous headline, an article about Aunt Dana's disappearance. Only then did I understand why the atmosphere at home had completely fallen apart. Even someone like Aunt Dana had vanished in Clayton. It seemed the refugee problem was finally beginning to show itself. Jace suddenly snatched the paper away, and Seshia let out a cry of surprise. Jace said, "Please don't read these things. They'll only trouble you for no reason." Seshia looked up at him, but it should at least know what's happening in the country. Jace sighed helplessly. "You're only 7. You don't need to worry about such things. Have you eaten?" Seshia lowered her eyes. "Not yet. I wanted to eat with Dad." Jace said, "Lord Benedict went to the territory, didn't he?" "Because of the refugees." Seshia asked, "Then what about Mom?" Jace answered, "She went to the Imperial Palace early this morning." Seshia thought to herself, Grandpa probably went to the palace too. A 7-year-old child, with no mother, no father, and no grandfather. Jace looked flustered. "They'll all come back, won't they?" Seshia shoved her hands into her pockets. "Let me enjoy my loneliness for a while." Jace said, "But I'm here." Seshia's eyes brimmed with tears. "Jace, you're so nice." Jace replied gently, "Don't worry, Miss Seshia. I'll always be on your side." Seshia looked up. "Then can I go visit the Gray family?" The smile vanished from Jace's face instantly. No, Seshia stamped her foot. Why not? Jace explained. The Greys all think the family head is responsible for Lady Dana's disappearance. If you go now, you won't be welcomed. You'll only feel miserable there. Seshia poked her cheek. But I am Enoch's fiancé, aren't I? Maybe the Grey family will see me differently. Jace was firm. No. Puffing with annoyance, Seshia turned away. Then I'm going to practice swordsmanship. Jace immediately smiled again. That's a good idea. Seshia pasted Enoch's portrait onto a straw dummy. She raised her wooden sword. Enoch must be so miserable. This can't go on. Then she stopped. Wait, come to think of it, hasn't that kid stayed by my side this whole time, rain or shine? At times when I had no mother, no father, and no grandfather, even though all of them were still alive. Seshia suddenly slashed downward. The straw dummy collapsed with a crash. Why'd it have to be now? Are you leaving too? Seshia collapsed to the ground and burst into tears. Grandpa, Mom, Dad, the monsters in Clayton are too terrifying. I'm so worried about Enoch. I'm going crazy. A pair of black boots stopped in front of her. A voice sounded overhead. What is you crying like this? Seshia lifted her tearful eyes and jerked her head up. Sedfield came into view. Seshia threw herself into the man's arms. Grandpa. Sedfield patted her back. There, my little beauty. Seshia looked up. I heard you went to the palace. Nothing serious happened, right? Sedfield said, I've decided to give up my title and take responsibility for Dana's disappearance. Seshia froze. How can you say that so lightly? You won't be a duke anymore. Isn't that a big deal? Sedfield's gaze was steady. A title does not prove who a person is. Only my sword and the way I live my life can prove that I exist. So it's nothing that important. He gently stroked Seshia's head. With a granddaughter as lovely as you, what do those things matter? Seshia stared at him. Only your sword and the way you live prove who you are. Sedfield set her down on the ground. Remember this, Seshia. If one day you want to stand tall with your head held high, then you must first learn to stand firm. Seshia's eyes shone. Yes, Grandpa. Sedfield smiled in satisfaction. Oh, right. I stopped by the palace on the way and bought you a present. Seshia asked in delight. A present. Sedfield took out a ribbon. This is for you. Seshia's eyes filled with joy. I love it so much. Sedfield's expression turned serious. Listen carefully, Seshia. I won't be able to come often anymore. I have to return to Clayton Forest. Panic filled Seshia's face. You can't go there. Aunt Dana disappeared there. It's dangerous. Sedfield replied calmly. Dana will be fine. Seshia pressed on. What do you mean by that? Do you know what really happened? Sedfield's eyes grew deep and unreadable. I can't explain everything right now, but Dana is safe, so don't worry too much. Seshia lowered her head, her lips trembling faintly. Unable to hold it in, she burst into tears. Even if you're busy, you have to come back every year on my birthday. You didn't come this year, and I was really sad. Sedfield stroked her head. I promise I'll come back. Then he suddenly heard a rumbling sound and frowned. What was that? Seshia gave an awkward laugh. I haven't eaten, so, Sedfield's face darkened. What? He roared. Who dared let Seshia go hungry? To Grandpa, eating was a matter of utmost importance. He even forgot that he and Mother had been at odds and immediately began scolding everyone. Of course, eating was just as important to Mother too, so she forgot all about being angry at Grandpa and only kept apologizing for letting me go hungry. Sitting at the dining table, Seshia wore a sly little smile. So maybe occasionally skipping a meal isn't so bad after all. That was the lesson I learned. In my previous life, I didn't even have family I could complain to about feeling lonely. Now, all that happened was that I missed a single meal and everyone made such a fuss. I was grateful, but there was still an empty corner in my heart. Seshia poked at the food on her plate, her fork dragging weakly through the fried egg. Enoch must be very lonely right now, too. When will I see him again? In a week? A month? Or a year? Has he eaten? Jace pushed open the door. Miss Seshia, please get some rest. Then he seemed to remember something. I thought you might be curious. They say Lord Enoch ran away again. Seshia sprang to her feet. What? Her cheeks flushed. No, that's not the point. Why should I care about him? How old is he, anyway? Why does he keep running away from home all the time? With the refugees and the atmosphere being this bad, where could he even go? Seshia's pupils shrank. Could it be? She rushed toward the balcony and peered outside anxiously. A knowing smile curled at her lips. Sure enough, that annoying brat who had come before had returned again.